Hello, thank you for joining me for a tour and walkthrough of the features of the Internet Archive. A lot of people will ask, what is the Internet Archive? So if you do a quick Google, it is in this, its logo is based off of this beautiful building that they're in. It used to be a Christian Science or an old Mormon church of some kind. And so it's actually a physical location, and they store also in Richmond a lot of the things that they scan. So it's not just a website. There's real people working towards their mission. And their mission is it was founded in 1996 as a nonprofit digital library. The Internet Archive allows the public to upload and download materials and also collaborates with universities and other entities to scan and upload materials. The Graduate Theological Union partnered with the Internet Archive, sending books, microfilm, and periodicals to be digitized in preparation for the modification of the Hewlett Building in 2021. You might think of it as similar to Hothy Trust, if you've heard of that, or Project Gutenberg. And the other partners besides the Graduate Theological Union include, but are not limited to, MTV News, Princeton Theological Seminary, Claremont School of Theology, Payne Theological Seminary. I've even seen a collection of the manuscripts at Columbia University posted. So a wide variety of not only academic institutions, but sometimes small organizations are using it as a way to share their collections with others. So let's navigate over to the website here. So when you go to archive.org, it is an overwhelming website. There's one of my favorite tools up at the top, search the history over 946 billion web pages. And then there's a place with all these icons to search the Internet Archive itself. They do have some very robust support pages, and they tend to highlight some interesting collections as you keep on scrolling down the page. I'd point out the California Digital Library. They bring the sermons and religious collections together. Grateful Dead, if you're a Deadhead. So even the Library of Congress has duplicated some of their items. There are over 100,000 items from the Library of Congress. That's great. So, first thing that you may want to do when you visit the site is to create an account. So up here, I've got my profile already signed in. I'm going to go ahead and log out. So you would click this sign up link and go ahead and use whatever email address, pick a screen name that hasn't been taken, and select your password. You can sign up for their newsletters. You don't have to. When you click sign up, it'll send you an email so that you can verify that this is a real email address. So you have to click the link in your email, and then you go ahead and log in. So I have a password manager here, so I'm going to let it autofill. And then you'll see your screen name up here. Now, as you browse, you can add favorites, and you might borrow materials using what's called controlled digital lending. With searching this particular site of resources, I'd recommend, so as I click into the box, suddenly it has all these options: metadata, the data about the item, including title, author, any descriptive information, the publisher, or if it's a book or some sort of text object, you can search anywhere in the text. That could be pretty powerful. I'm going to go ahead and search anywhere for Graduate Theological Union and anywhere in the text that can be read. Over 18,000 results. And I wonder if it's reading our property stamp on some of the rare items that we scan in-house at the GTU library. So over to the left, I could potentially, you notice there's maybe some weirdness with the data there. If it's giving me a 2035 at the end here, I'm going to go ahead and just limit to a real smaller window of time, limit all those sources that are coming up. Okay, took it down to a little over 1,000. And then we could look for items within our collection. I'm kind of interested to see, oh, Claremont has some stuff that references, that has somewhere Graduate Theological Union. And again, this reference series is coming up. We're listed in this fact book on theological education. You'll notice as my mouse is here in the results panel, there's kind of a annoying little pop-up that shows. I want to get into some interesting, wondering why this shows up here. So when you hover over an interesting item, it will give you the title, when it was published, how many views, the Library of Congress subject headings. Is it in, what collection is it in? This in library collection means that you're able to borrow it. And here it's letting me know that there was a Dr. Edward Craig Hobbs that offered a quote at some point in the book. So my curiosity is officially piqued. I'm gonna go ahead and click. So, and it flipped right to the page, which is really nice. As you get used to the interface, what I would recommend is just go ahead and go full screen. I tend to like the single page. And then you can use your mouse wheel, or I have a trackpad, and I went ahead and zoomed in using my pad. I could also use these buttons down here. So really fascinating. They were using support from someone at the World Council of Churches and also at the Graduate Theological Union. And it's the only mention in the book. But let me see if put Hobbes in here. See if Hobbes is quoted more than once. Nope. But if you have some contextual information, wait a minute. The Dominicans are part of the GTU. This is kind of interesting. When was this book published? What's going on that they're getting all this wisdom from the GTU and the member schools? Ah, limited preview. So when you don't have an Internet Archive account, or if you're signed in and you don't borrow the item, you'll hit this block. So it's time for us. We've gotten interested enough. We're going to go ahead and borrow. There's the borrow button, and then there's this smaller slice of that button off to the side. And I always check, can I borrow it for use, say, using Adobe Digital Editions? Can I use it offline in any way? Doesn't look like I can. But since what I found here in this book is so small, I'm happy to spend a little bit of time and just borrow it, read it right now in the browser. So you can see renews automatically with continued use. You can click the little information for more. It takes you to the FAQ page on how borrowing works. They have great video tutorials on their own. Lots of great information there. All right, so I am no longer interested in this. I'm going to go ahead and return this book. For most GTU users, they're going to find something. I'm going to go ahead and continue my session here. So let's say one of the people searching for things at the GTU library, and I get this really interesting book. It's over at the branch in San Anselmo, but I don't have time to run over to San Anselmo to the Presbyterian Seminary. And I see that this has the status digitizing. Certainly ask a reference librarian, but what this means is it's no longer in the library. We sent it to the Internet Archive for scanning. So what I do to search for these is I'll grab a name, And since Davis is pretty common, I'm going to go ahead and grab his first name too. I'm going to try just a slice of the title, not the whole title. So stamped with the image of God. This is a really good example. I'm glad I found it. I'm going to use this small search bar now up in the top right. I'm going to use the metadata search. So as you get familiar, you can search by creator. So I could do Davis, and I could also search by title. I'm going to have to go back, stamped with the image of God. Okay. I'm glad I did it this way too. So you can see I put title colon stamped with the image of God, creator colon, there's no space there. And I used the author's last name. I'm going to go ahead and take this out. I'm going to try it again, this time putting Davis just outside of the title as a keyword in the metadata, and still do this title search for the item. And here it comes up. So you've got to be very careful with how you type this in. Like if you accidentally put a space there. Oh, that's good that it did it. So title and creator are the two like secret hacks here for using the basic search. You can also go in and do an advanced search. So it has options where, say I was interested in Phyllis Tribble, and I wanted it. So if I knew an exact date, I could put in the exact date. I'm going to do a range. So I'm only interested in stuff that is pre-1990. So I need to start with the earlier date that I'm wanting. So I'll just throw in the 70s here. Then up to 1990. Do this kind of search. Great. You can see how many times each has been viewed. There's an audio recording coming up. So cool. So this is from Claremont's audio archive. Maybe this was a lecture she gave over there. So I clicked on this Text of Terror. That's one of her main ones, and I've already favorited it. I could also add it to a list. Kind of like this for organizing research for a project, or maybe you don't remember all your exegetical resources, so you want to keep them there in a list. So you can use those two functions when signed in. If you're an author yourself and you notice something on there that shouldn't be on here, available free with PDF download. This one doesn't have a PDF download. You can always flag an item for some sort of issue with it. Very cool that they had all this descriptive information on here. So let's see. This has the borrow for 14 days option. So I'm going to go ahead and take advantage of that 14-day loan borrow. Great. Perfect. So then I can search inside it and start reading it. At a later date, I'll do a in-depth tutorial on how to use this offline. Mostly for folks, I try to recommend just use it online as much as you can. Create a list for it so you can come back to it. Just better to come back to the text online. Okay, so that expansion here. Another cool feature, let me get into page a little bit more if you're borrowing. Let's see. Is it'll read this
forward in her first book in the series, God and the Rhetoric of Sexuality, 19.
Sure. So I'm going to go ahead and play right now.
78. Phyllis Tribble offered a fresh way to listen to the text that permitted the text to have its own say, without excessive interpretive manipulation.
Pretty good. I also like that yeah, you can make it a little bit faster.
By the time of this present book, Professor Tribble has become established as one of the most effective practitioners of rhetorical criticism, and as perhaps the decisive voice in feminist exposition of biblical literature. The studies offered in this book are the substance of her Beecher lectures at Yale.
Okay. So, nice accessibility features here. On an accessibility note, the Internet Archive has partnered with the Library of Congress, the National Library for the Print and Visually Disabled. And print and visually disabled makes it seem like a very narrow subset of people who might need more accessible text. They've actually made it very broad. So if someone has an executive functioning issue or a temporary injury even, um, or it could be anything where they desperately need access to an audio version and there's not a commercial source out there, they can't get it at their local library, they can use either their doctor, a teacher, an educator, even a librarian. We can sign off on their application form for access to services through the National Library. So you'll see some books have this print disability access, but I do enjoy the accessibility features that just come with these books that we borrow naturally. So I imagine students, users of the GTU library will be most often going, I need this book. It's not on the shelf. It doesn't have that status of available. So they'll be using this search up here to go ahead and find things like oh, and you have to get the title pretty right here. That's sociology. And oh, there it is down there. I thought I saw the yellow. But that's a different Voices from the Margin. I'm going to throw in Bible. There it is. And it's our copy, so you can see it's in our collection. The other thing I try to look for when I mouse over is sometimes you'll see the word removed. Yeah, both of these are in the collection. And when it's removed, you can't borrow it, which can be very frustrating. But of course, authors and publishers, if these books are still within copyright, they want to make money off of them. Okay, so as soon as you have saved a few things, I'm going to go ahead and go to my lists here. I've made my lists private over here. So I've got a Hildegard project, so I can jump back into these titles. If you get very long lists, you could search within your list or sort it. I just want to show you a couple of the really cool things. It's amazing what you might be able to find. So if somebody didn't get the required New Oxford Annotated Bible, there's a copy that they can use on the Internet Archive. I also really like that the Anchor Bible Dictionary is available. And then if you have found something that's really good, like let's go back to the Tribble's Texts of Terror. Oh, wow. And look, there's this other copy that comes up. This might be, since it has the Spanish descriptors, I'm wondering if it's English or Spanish. So here it is. Here are all the subject headings below. And we've got Old Testament criticism here. So if you find a really good book, I would recommend folks to go to the subject headings. And then the filter that I like is that in library. So I'm not seeing here. There it is. So 6 are available to borrow. There's that one. Very cool. I'm going to take that filter off for a second. So you see this one is removed. I just have discovered that it exists, but due to copyright, it's been removed. Okay. So there's a few collections that I mentioned that are very useful. As soon as you find out that they're in the Internet Archive, I would just save the collection link so you can search within their resources, and they might even have sub-collections. So here's Princeton's collection. You can change the way you can view it here. So I tend to get interested in the stuff that has gotten the most all-time views. So there are collections there. some of the stuff that older materials that they have. And of course, I could use any of these limiters over to the side. When you go up to the texts menu, you can see the American Library collections and any additional collections. So if I click American Libraries, it will list all of these amazing ones. Here's the Graduate Theological Union again. And you can click in and explore, see what's unique about each one. Okay, a couple of other things that I wanted to point out. For video resources, you'll notice that they have a collection for spirituality and religion. And there might be some really amazing films and lectures posted here. I tend to like to look for the ones that are getting the most views and see, what exactly is up here. A lot of Islamic resources, which is really great. Same for audio. There's a lot of live music that you can find in old 78 record recordings, but they also have this spirituality and religion section. And as I was looking through these, I'm gonna see if I can limit here by language. And you can limit by collections too. Stumbled across the Hartford Street Zen Center, which is in San Francisco. There's these great lectures and meditations, and you can favorite those as well. So this one I looked at, and it's just 34 minutes long. And when I hit play, I'll get to hear her.
We move through the world on two legs, cutting a swath for ourselves, And when we bow, it tips away from this elevated posture. This is one mudra. And of course then, there's a certain order to these that one could talk about. And it's based on the 5 Buddha families.
So this is really great. And there's MP3 downloads of all of these. I could favorite, share it with somebody else. When I hit share, you could put it in a website. You can just grab the link to the item, so that little chain icon. It's just very great to have this. There's even old software that you can find. Love the Internet Arcade as a collection. Images as well. For video, just because I can, go ahead and search all video. All right, so here's this page. That's why. So there can be some very cool collections like this. It's just very cool that they have this digitized now. There it is.
This is the story of a school for Presbyterian ministers. And because of its unique purpose, a seminary is a little different from the ordinary college or university. It's a graduate school. The students are older, averaging 27 years of age. The majority of them are married.
So you can look up some very, very interesting things. Even in the TV recordings, like TV news, this can be cool to search, especially when you have a figure in Bay Area or an organization in Bay Area history. So like it's coming up with this mosaic program that I didn't even know exists. And here's the president of the GTU Reese Potterveld being
Keep
interviewed.
your eye on the fact that we're trying to attract right now Hindu, Jain, and Sikh groups because they're not currently represented at the GTU. And
so you can see like the history of an organization. What do they care about? I want to show the internet, the Wayback Machine. So when you hit web, it comes up with the search for the Wayback Machine, which allows you to, like the Peabody cartoon, you're at a web page and maybe somebody didn't pay their server fee anymore. They gave up the domain name. So you get an error. This site does not exist, or it's different than what you expect. If it was saved in the Wayback Machine, you can look at an archived version of the site. And you can be a part of making sure that a web page as it is on the certain date is captured by go ahead and saving a URL. So let's do a little bit of research here. So let's say, I'm going to still use the GTU as an example. So I'm going to look at the overview of the GTU. And here it has these four: educating scholars. And then also look at the third one: teaching patterns of faith that encourage justice and care for the planet. So here in the Wayback Machine, I'm going to go ahead and I'm not going to do all of the URL. I'm just going to do the root. Okay, so the bar height is how many saves for that year. So here we are in 2025. I'm going to go all the way back. I'm going to go to the first time that it has appeared on the web. So if there are multiple times on that day that it was saved because people made some edits to an alert, you might see multiple timestamps here. Here, there's just that one showing. So I'm going to go ahead and click that one. So here we can see an old like letterhead logo. It was a list of links here. Depending on how much of this has been, saved, each individual page has been saved. Let's go ahead and see. So if you click on the mission, so back in 1990, they say 1995, but this was a capture of March 1997. They gendered it, women and men. And it's nurture, justice, and peace here. So interesting to see that change there. This has also been very useful for when a website is cited in somebody's bibliography and it's dead. You can go back and see the page. Some other fun things to do, like you can look at your alma mater. And I think I'm messing that up. I'll go back up here and type a different site in here. It's also useful for CVs too. Like if you did something on a blog and then the blog goes away, you can still provide a link. So here's the St. Mary's site today. Let's not go back to the early. Let's go back around here in the recent memory. So I can navigate with these arrows, going back to 2014. So notice that sometimes the visual elements of the site may not translate in the same way, but you can get a sense of, wow, they got a new master's program. There's different things that they're highlighting here on the page. Just a great way to explore what was going on at a particular moment in time, or study how somebody reacted to a particular event. Or if a site got censored, how many ways did the site change after a certain event? So many good things. So can even get a lot more information on it, everything that was kept on the site. So I just clicked over here. Here you can save this particular URL so that other people can get to the same spot. I've also, I went ahead and added the browser extension. Here it is. So it makes it easier to save right away instead of going right back to the Internet Archive and clicking around a little bit. So that's the advantage I've found in having the Wayback Machine as an extension in Chrome. Okay, so I'm going to double check, see if there's anything else that I wanted to highlight. Take punctuation out of the search. If you know the ISBN of a book, you can search by ISBN too. I'll go back. So it would just be ISBN : You can use the same for a journal's ISSN number. See. Oh, let me show a search for by publisher. Sometimes you'll just find a publisher that you just love everything that they do. Same thing. So 1,000 of liturgical presses, like the Merton Annual, that's great. Search by date published. Wow. This is pretty good that some of these more recent ones you can access, but as publishers discover, you know, sometimes I've seen, oh, I was able to access that last semester. Sometimes it gets pulled. Hopefully that'll happen less and less. Oh, look, there's some good commentaries. I'm going to click into it because it looks like a wisdom commentary. Yeah. So there are some commentary sets that you can find on here too. So could click that subject heading, then filter to once. So this might be enough to complete that paper, especially that this is is that the Old Testament? Yeah, it's an Old Testament library. Oh gosh, that's great oh, but borrow unavailable. Shoot, didn't I thought that's the subject headings. Thought I checked check that one. 18. So the Old Testament library got pulled, but there's some other ones that have not. Yeah, very easy to go down a rabbit hole on your research topic in here. I'm going to double check again, see if there's anything else. Oh, I forget how I got to this, but there's periodicals that'll show up, and this magazine rack is very cool. So they've got it organized alphabetically, and go to the E's because I thought it was, let's start with the Earth Garden magazine, Pulp magazine. Oh, very cool. Oh, they got the oldest sounding stories, weird tales. But there might be, you know, some sort of 60s hippie publication that's relevant as well. So that was another interesting one that I found. Finally, I'm going to share an Internet Archive bingo activity. So please do it as you will. Let's see. So here's the bingo if you just want to explore and get familiar with how to do each of these things. If you are unable to do any of these things, I'm happy to do a demo on something that I may have missed in this overview. Thank you so much for watching this. I'm going to send you this unedited, and hopefully I'm able to chop it up and make it a little more engaging for YouTube. So thank you for showing interest, and just let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.